This video is now in session, and the suburbs and losing the suburbs will mean a death sentence to the Republican Party. Now, in politics, in U.S. politics, for the presidential election, the election comes down to a couple of states that happen to have a lot of electoral votes and are competitive. So states like Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Arizona, Georgia, and other places. These states have a lot of electoral votes and they are competitive. So within these states, it gets even more selective in terms of where the campaigns are concentrated in. They're concentrated mainly in the suburbs. And the reason why is because there are the rural areas usually vote for Republicans, and the urban areas usually vote for Democrats. Suburban counties are the main predicator of a lot of competitive states. So, for example, not Michigan, because Michigan has not really inputted its data yet. But let's take a look at Pennsylvania. The suburbs here that went for Biden, that shifted for Biden, if we look at the change from 2016, here, this shift towards Biden right here, and then the shift in the Pittsburgh area towards Biden is what helped him win Pennsylvania. And this seems to be a recurrent thing now for Democrats, where they are able to get the suburbs of these places. They shifted the suburbs of Milwaukee and Madison. And if you look at the 2020 results, you can see the Madison suburbs are blue, and then the Milwaukee suburbs, half of it is blue. And that shifted Wisconsin to go for Joe Biden. In Michigan, the data that we do have from here in this area of Wayne County, you can see that it's gotten blue, more blue compared to 2016, and these are also part of the suburbs that went for Joe Biden, as well as Kalamazoo, Lansing, and Grand Rapids, which is not filled out here. Here in Minnesota, the suburbs went incredibly for Democrats in 2020, which allowed Minnesota to go for Democrats by a pretty wide margin in the 2020 election. In other states like Georgia, the suburbs were huge for Democrats in letting them win the 2020 election and the 2021 special Senate election. Those were a pair of seats that happened in Georgia. You can see that Gwinnett County and a lot of these other counties, Cobb County, went for Democrats compared to 2016, or at least a larger margin. Here we can compare it, where a lot of this area, which usually is Republican, went more for Democrats, and you can see that this area tied with the Savannah area went for Democrats in a larger margin than 2016, and this is just reflected everywhere. It's reflected in the Phoenix area with Maricopa County. You can see the suburbs here in a large shift from 2016 right here in a lot of counties that shifted towards the Democrats. You can see in Texas, where in the Dallas area, a lot of it shifted to Democrats from 2016. Here you can see that the suburbs, this area right here, this area as well, Plano, Louisville, as well as Mesquite, and other places went for Democrats in the Dallas Metroplex, and that's what allowed Democrats to flip Tarrant County, that's located in Fort Worth, for the first time in a while. This is the first time that Democrats won in Tarrant County, presidentially speaking, for a long time. In Austin, you see that a lot of these counties right here, suburbs, that are growing, are becoming more Democratic. In San Antonio, the same thing. Houston, Harris County, same thing, where a lot of these counties in the outer area of Houston, especially in Sugar Land, are becoming more Democratic. You can see Sugar Land right here, and then you can look at the outskirts that went for Democrats. So this is good for Democrats and really bad for Republicans, and the reason why it's because the Democrats are starting to cement their stronghold in the suburban areas because of Donald Trump and his divisive kind of politics. And that's not good for Republicans, because without the suburbs, there is no way for Republicans to win. They need the suburbs in order to win, and that's the one thing that they're starting to lose between now and 2024. So the strategy for them is to appease the suburbs and as well as take away a few of the urban votes if they can. And the main thing to do that is to conform to the suburban politics, and a lot of them are moderates. A lot of them actually lean a little more conservative. That said, if the Republican Party is going to be incredibly far to the right, then that's not going to be good for them, as there is a breaking point for a lot of those moderate conservatives in the suburban areas to then go for Democrats. And once they start going for Democrats in a couple of elections, usually they start going for Democrats in future elections. And this applies to most groups. If you vote once, twice, and then thrice for the same party after switching, then you're most likely going to stay with that party. This is reflected in Colorado, in Arizona, in Texas, Georgia, North Carolina, Wisconsin, Michigan, Minnesota, Pennsylvania, and a lot of other states. And that's the bad thing about the Republicans in this current state. So what they should do is become more moderate and realize that most Americans are moderates rather than deep conservatives. So obviously that's a suggestion. It's unlikely that they're going to take that suggestion because of the political dynamics that are happening between Republicans and moderate Republicans, and as well as the Donald Trump kinds of Republicans. So that's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. This video is now adjourned, and I'll see you in the next one.